All right, Parliament will be called back for an emergency sitting on Saturday. There's a lot at stake. The bill to get the 75% wage subsidy passed. Why has it taken so long? Well, the Prime Minister, as you just saw, blames the Conservatives' insistence on a full House sitting. Is that true? Let's find out. Andrew Scheer, the outgoing Conservative Party leader, joins us from Regina. First of all, Mr. Scheer, hope you and your family are well. Thanks for joining us again. The Prime Minister explicitly called you and your party out, saying you're holding up the emergency wage subsidy bill because you won't do virtual sittings. What's your party's issue with the legislation and coming back quickly to get it done?
Simply false. The Prime Minister is free to call the House back whenever he feels like it. We indicated that we supported the measures that he had announced. And at the same time, lots of conversations were going on about what to do afterwards. This is now the second time that the House has had to come back, quickly pass legislation, foregoing the normal levels of scrutiny and analyzation. And in the conversation around the bill itself, there were other conversations happening about what do we do going into the future. But at no time was this the reason for the delay. The Prime Minister himself said that it would take weeks for this program to be up and running, that the CRA department had already started work on the back end. So his own words tell you that these conversations and these analyzations of the bill aren't in any way delaying the benefits.
So when you come back Saturday, and I guess you will, is there anything you want to see in that bill? Will you try to make some amendments, or is there something that they're not talking about that you will insist? Or because of the staggering unemployment, will you and your party support this bill just to get the money into people's hands?
Well, we support these measures. And keep in mind, it was the Prime Minister, it was the government's initial program that had a 10% wage subsidy. We said that's not going to be enough, that the catastrophic drop in revenue is going to need a much higher wage subsidy. So it was a conservative call to increase this in the first place. So we're very supportive of this. We are, going through the bill and looking at some components that we would like to see. Our big concern right now in the opposition is one that is not about ideology and not about partisanship. It's really, we have to make sure that our accountability measures are kept intact, that we don't want to see the government assume vast new powers to spend money well into the future without regular scrutiny by Parliament. That's what we're looking at right now to say, okay, we all agree. We need this program. We need to get money into the hands of Canadians. But we also need to make sure that we're not in a rush to get this out the door, giving the government powers that they never had before in previous crises, and sidelining Parliament on an ongoing way. That's what we're talking about.
I understand that. I mean, there is a rush to get stuff out the door. I don't think Parliament and oversight should be sidelines. I think we all agree on that. But the Liberals keep pitching this idea of a virtual Parliament. You keep saying we need an in-person Parliament. The Prime Minister says why? There, people, MPs that who live in Alberta or British Columbia or other locations in the north, they got to come. They can't make it here. Why shouldn't they get represented? What's your fundamental problem, especially when a large part of your MPs are out west? What's your problem with using virtual technology to have Parliament sit so everybody gets represented?
Well, again, Mr. Trudeau is mischaracterizing our position. We believe that since ministers can give in-person briefings to the media and to other officials, that it's appropriate to have that in the House of Commons as well. We're not talking about an either-or proposition. We were one of the early voices saying we need to get this up and running. We can't get 338 MPs back in the same room. And I want to be very clear on that. We are not suggesting that we break the public health direction. We are talking about a representative number of MPs from each party, in addition to exploring virtual sittings and other measures that can ensure that more MPs from every region can participate.
Okay,
so it's not
you're open to that.
Absolutely, we're open to it.
Okay, that's cool.
We were suggesting it, but we do believe that it should be built around some kind of a sitting where there's that dynamic back and forth in the chamber, allowing a back and forth between ministers and opposition members for better results for Canadians. That kind of scrutiny gets to better programs.
Okay, so a hybrid model. I got 30 seconds. The Liberals today said they're going to sell light armored vehicles to Saudi Arabia. Remember, the Saudi Arabians were widely accused, the government, of murdering with a bone saw a journalist. But they say jobs are important and it's passed the test. Should Canada sell light armored vehicles to Saudi Arabia right now?
My position with this has always been, if we want to teach Saudi Arabia a lesson, it's not about stopping taking their money for things we make here. It's to stop buying things from them and sending our dollars to Saudi Arabia. The best thing we can do to stand up for Canada and against these human rights abuses is to stop importing Saudi oil. That's why we need a national.
But so you're just on this. You're okay selling lavs then? You're okay with the lavs? But we don't buy very much Saudi oil. We buy some and not a lot. But you're saying you're okay with selling the lavs though?
It's a significant amount that we buy. The refinery in St. John's has a significant amount of oil coming from Saudi Arabia. Those are Canadian consumer dollars going to Saudi Arabia, supporting that regime. That doesn't make any sense to me when we have people out of work in Alberta and Saskatchewan and parts of BC.
Andrew Scheer, I got to leave it there. By the way, happy Easter to you and your family. And I hope you have a celebration virtual, but I hope you have a good one. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up on the